At the final meeting for the company's listing, the wife of the keynote speaker was absent. I frantically called her, but all my efforts were in vain. As a result, the company failed in the bid and became a laughing stock in the industry. However, her male best friend, William, posted a message on Moments at this time saying, "I just have a cold, and this little one is so worried." When I clicked on it, there was my wife, whom I hadn't seen for a few days, squatting on the ground, coaxingly feeding him medicine. I was completely disappointed, and the 5-year relationship dissipated. At this moment, General Manager James said, "The bidding meeting has started, but the keynote speaker is absent. Are you making way for us?" What a kind person. The boss of the rival company slapped me hard on the shoulder, his eyes filled with thick mockery. I was stunned in place, unable to say a word. Today was supposed to be our last bidding meeting. If successful, the company could go public. More than a dozen employees were counting on the successful listing to get their bonuses, but it ended up like this. At this moment, Ava's male best friend, William, posted another message on Moments. "I just coughed a few times, and someone was so anxious that they dropped everything to accompany me." The picture attached was of my wife looking worried as she fed him medicine. Only then did I know that she had gone to take care of William, who had a cold, just because he coughed a few times. Ava could willingly let down the expectations of more than a dozen employees in the company and the efforts we had put in for 2 whole years to go to him. She was haughty towards me, but so attentive and considerate in front of her male best friend. Tears couldn't be held back any longer, and I hit the steering wheel several times. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of a used condom in the car. In an instant, I felt as if I had been soaked in ice water, and my whole body couldn't stop trembling. This car had always been driven only by Ava herself, and it was obvious what she had done. I closed my eyes in despair. I had originally thought that she was just having a momentary emotional affair, but I never expected that she and William had already had a physical relationship. Thinking back to some time ago, Ava unexpectedly coped for me. She was also very gentle and said she would celebrate my birthday. I had thought that I had finally touched her heart and that we could live a good life from then on. Now it seemed that it was just compensation out of guilt after her affair. While I scrolled through Ava's Moments, more than a dozen consecutive posts were all about the little things with William. Not a single one was about me. Even her wallpaper was an ordinary selfie that William had taken casually. I had mentioned my misgivings before, but she always turned the tables on me, saying that I was being unreasonable. "We're good friends. What's wrong with using each other's photos? If something was really going on between us, would it be your turn?" She looked at me with red eyes, and no matter how dissatisfied I was, I could only swallow it down. I kept brainwashing myself that she really had no feelings for William, that she just lacked a sense of boundaries. But now, the last trace of hope in my heart was completely shattered. "Ava, let's get a divorce." After sending her the message, I immediately contacted a lawyer and drew up a divorce agreement. When I got home, I started packing my things, wanted to move out immediately. But then I found a pregnancy test report that Ava had tucked in the cabinet. We hadn't had sex for 3 consecutive months, so this child couldn't be mine. I thought I was already completely heartbroken, but after seeing this, my heart still couldn't help but ache. It was as if someone was choking my neck, and the feeling of suffocation made me feel drowsy. I silently left the pregnancy test report where it was, took a photo, and then left. However, Ava still didn't reply to me. She seemed to have vanished into thin air. It wasn't until 2 days later, when I forwarded the divorce agreement to her, that she finally replied with a question mark. "What do you mean? I haven't been home for a few days, and you want to divorce me?" Seeing that I didn't answer, she seemed to be irritated again. "Are you serious? Think it through. If you divorce me, you won't be able to find someone with my conditions. The divorce agreement has been sent to you. Do you still think I'm joking?" I sneered and urged, "After you sign it, we'll find a time to get the divorce certificate. Then we'll have nothing to do with each other." Then I turned off my phone and went straight to the company. After this incident, although the employees complained about trusting me, they didn't resign. I couldn't delay them any longer because of my personal affairs. Fortunately, I had enough funds to make ends meet. When I got back, I gave each of them a 5,000 yuan bonus. It's okay that we failed this time. There will be another listing opportunity in 2 months. Let's all work harder." They were all elated and returned to their workstations. I called the HR person and asked her to give Ava a dismissal notice. "Boss, are you really going to dismiss her?" "General Manager Ava. What if she dismisses her?" "Make sure to give it to her today. From now on, the company's development has nothing to do with her." I waved my hand to interrupt her and turned back to my office. Although this was a company that we had founded together, in fact, it was all funded and supported by me alone. Before, I was willing to study customer preferences and then painstakingly win over customers. I didn't think much of it. Now, thinking about it carefully, I was out there braving the wind and rain while she only needed to do the logistics work in the company. Ava really had it easy. Not long after, Ava called me on her own initiative. She angrily accused me. "What right do you have to fire me from the company? It's also my hard work. Regarding the divorce you mentioned this afternoon, I'll pret." I didn't hear it. "If you keep making trouble, I really won't tolerate you anymore." When I heard this, I couldn't help laughing. She still thought that I was just using this to force her to come home. When I say divorce, I mean it. What effort have you put into the company from beginning to end? You didn't even show up at the final listing meeting. I'm being generous, not holding you accountable for compensation. I'll only keep the divorce agreement until today. If you don't sign it and send it back to me by tonight, I'll sue you tomorrow. After I finished speaking, the other end of the phone was unusually quiet. Perhaps because her offer to reconcile was rejected, Ava felt embarrassed, but I didn't have the energy to guess what she was thinking. I just hung up the phone. After work, when I got home, I saw steaming food on the table. Looking into the kitchen, there was Ava, whom I hadn't seen for a few days, wearing an apron and bustling around in the kitchen. I slightly raised my eyebrows, wondering what she was up to. After all, during the years we were together, I did all the housework. "You're back. Let's have dinner." When she saw me, she came over and took my hand. "I know I was wrong, and it's right for you to be angry, but you shouldn't mention divorce so casually. I promise I'll never leave you for William again. Forgive me this last time, okay?" Ava looked pitiful, and she deliberately softened her tone, making her even more endearing. I calmly pulled my hand away. If an apology were useful, then who should bear the company's losses? You don't need to fawn over me like this. When I say I want a divorce, I won't change my mind. "James, what do you mean by that? I'll really get angry if you keep this up." Ava's face darkened as her first attempted reconciliation was rejected. I completely lost my patience and simply laid it all out. "What disgusting things you and William did in the car. Do you really think I don't know anything? I'm trying to spare your dignity. Do you really want me to expose everything? She was my first love, the person I truly loved for 5 years. Even though she had an affair, I still wanted to end things amicably, but Ava didn't appreciate it. Instead of reflecting after hearing my words, she flew into a rage and smashed all the freshly cooked food on the table. So what if it's a divorce? Let's get divorced. Don't come crying to me for forgiveness later." I indifferently grabbed her. "I bought this house. If you don't feel bad, I do. Since you've thought it through, then sign the papers and take your things and leave." Ava glared at me, panting heavily. After signing, she called William. "Come pick me up quickly. I've divorced James, and he's making me pack up and get out." Standing aside, I twitched the corner of my mouth when I heard this. The way Ava said it made it seem like I was the one bullying her. Fortunately, she finally signed the agreement, and I could finally be free. 5 years together, this marriage had only brought me endless exhaustion. In the end, when Ava finished packing, G stood at the door and realized that almost all the clothes in the house were hers. I had very few, and one piece had been worn for 5 or 6 years and still hadn't been thrown away. She lowered her head and didn't say anything, and a trace of complex emotion flashed in her eyes. "Ava, I'm here. Did he bully you?" By the time William rushed over in a hurry by car, I had already closed the door and was sitting on the sofa eating takeout. When I heard the commotion outside, I put on my headphones. But William seemed to deliberately want to embarrass me. He shouted loudly outside. If I had known he was such a person, I shouldn't have given you to him back then. What kind of man is he? It's just a house. He kicked someone out after a divorce. Where's his sense of decency? The neighbors heard the commotion and came out to watch, chattering and gossiping outside. I couldn't hold back any longer and went out and punched William. When you two were cheating on me, why didn't you think about your own decency? You got her pregnant. How dare you come and talk about me? In an instant, Eva looked at me in disbelief, and her lips couldn't stop trembling. What are you talking about, William? Let's go. She seemingly didn't expect that I would know about her pregnancy and would say it out in public without caring about my image. Ava's face was extremely ugly now, and she just wanted to escape the scene as soon as possible. I didn't stop her. Instead, I turned around and told the property management to delete Ava's facial recognition information and not allow her to enter in the future. We can go get the divorce certificate next week. See you at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Then we'll have nothing to do with each other after that. I sent her a message and then turned off my phone to continue eating. I thought that when this day really came, I would feel empty-hearted, but unexpectedly, I felt extremely relieved instead. These days, I've been busy with company matters running around. I finally found an investor. General Manager James let me sign the contract. Just as we were about to take the final step, the assistant of the other party rushed over in a hurry and showed him something with a gloomy face. Sorry, General Manager James. Let's suspend this cooperation for now. After he took a look, he turned around and left directly. I was left standing there looking blank. It was only when I saw the trending topic of me angrily accusing Ava and William that I realized I had been set up. William was a self-media blogger. When he came to pick me up yesterday, he sent someone to record a video in the car in advance. After getting home, he edited it, cutting off the beginning and the end, and added the caption, "Going to pick up my best friend who was kicked out by a scumbag. Scumbag should die." He usually builds an image of being a woman's loving person. The story he fabricated on the platform quickly got over 100,000 likes. I was so angry that I immediately called Ava. Spreading rumors is illegal. Why are you slander me like this? But Ava didn't care. Then go sue us. Let's see who the police will side with now. Public opinion is on our side. We're not afraid of you. I was stunned. I couldn't believe how I had fallen for Ava back then. For all these years, I had always granted her every request. Now, just because I couldn't stand it anymore and wanted a divorce, I was being threatened by her and her lover with the truth turned upside down. If you want us to delete the post, it's not impossible. Your clean break from property is the only condition. After a while, Ava said again, I just snorted. You're dreaming. If you don't delete the post, then keep it forever. I've already called the police. Then, without waiting for her to answer, I hung up the phone directly. When the police arrived, I simultaneously contacted a public relations company to immediately carry out anti-harassment measures online. When I met Ava and William again, the two of them still looked very arrogant. If you two remain stubborn, I'll also insist on not reconciling and let you have a criminal record. For the sake of the 5 years we lived together, I'm willing to give you one last chance. Hearing this, Ava sneered. Who the hell are you scaring? It's just a post I made up. I didn't even mention your name. You have no right to ask us to delete it. She was right. All the names used in the post were aliases. But still, they dug out all my family information and address. These days, I've seen a lot of cases of online harassment on the internet. I'm almost too afraid to go out. I'm afraid of being retaliated against by extreme people, and I stay at home all day and night, so anxious that my hair is falling out. At this time, the police officer stood beside me. You two fabricated facts, causing others to attack and cyberbully. According to the law, you could be directly detained. Straighten up your attitudes. Don't do things you'll regret. I smiled gratefully. Finally, I felt a bit of kindness in these days, but when I thought of the canceled contract, the smile on my face disappeared again. That could have been a chance for our company to turn things around, but now it just added another laughingstock for the rival company. If it weren't for Ava, I could have had many opportunities. Pulling my thoughts back, the look in my eyes when I looked at them was filled with undisguised disgust. Ava was slightly startled. What kind of expression is that? You've never looked at me like this before. William, beside her, changed his expression and grabbed her hand. Ava, why do you care so much about him? Only then did Ava react and force a smile. I looked at them, feeling completely indifferent. In fact, I knew that Ava didn't have absolutely no feelings for me. But this meager amount of affection was simply insignificant compared to her ambiguous entanglement with William. In the end, William had no choice but to delete the post and publicly apologize to me on all platforms. Can you forgive William? He really didn't do it on purpose. If you don't, reconcile, his future will be ruined. Only then did Ava think of showing weakness to me, but I was already too lazy to pay attention to them. You didn't say that at the beginning. Don't you think it's too late to say these things now? Ava bit her lip. Then what do you want to do to forgive him? He's still young. He really can't have a criminal record. For a moment, I remembered the last time I had a dispute with William. At that time, Ava was also so determined to stand in front of William and protect him. But every time it came to things related to me, she would impatiently ask me to be tolerant. You leave the house with nothing, and I'll sign the letter of understanding. Otherwise, there's no need to talk about it. I looked at her coldly, also wondering how far she would go for William. Don't be too excessive. I've also worked in the company for so long. Don't you want to leave me anything? As expected, Ava's face changed when she heard this. I always thought you were an honest person, so you're so heartless too. I sneered disdainfully. Who said they wanted to break up with me completely? What are you haggling about now? If you don't leave the house with nothing, I won't sign the letter of understanding. It's that simple. After arguing to the end, Ava sighed. She could only reluctantly agree to leave the house with nothing on the condition that I let William go. The latter's eyes turned red, and he looked at me with dissatisfaction. Of course, I could understand the meaning in his eyes. He was just coveting my property, so he had been pestering Ava. If Ava left with nothing, she would gradually lose her value in his heart. But if not, he would have to bear a criminal record. However, all of this was something that Ava, who was blinded by love, couldn't understand. I left the police station indifferently and drove straight to the company. On the weekend, I went to get the divorce certificate with Ava. Actually, I have feelings for you in my heart. She smiled self-deprecatingly. If William hadn't appeared, maybe I would have chosen to be with you all the time because you were really good to me before. I also smiled self-deprecatingly. Did she love me? She actually claimed to love me. Then what about all the humiliation and cold treatment I had endured? Cut the crap. Let's go get the divorce certificate. Then I picked up the certificate and turned to leave. On the way back, I received a friend request. It was actually Emma, a college classmate. I heard you got divorced. Does that mean I have a chance? Her straightforward question left me a bit at a loss. Emma was in the same club as me in college and had confessed to me several times. But at that time, I only had Ava in my heart, so I refused her without hesitation. Now, as soon as I divorced Ava, she found out and took the initiative to contact me. Only then did I know that in order to wait for me, she hadn't been in a relationship for so many years, let alone gotten married. For a moment, my mood was very complicated, and I felt a faint sense of touch. Never thought that there would be someone who loved me so much and was willing to wait for me for so many years. You know, I just got divorced, and I'm really not in the mood right now. After careful consideration, I declined her gently, but Emma didn't care. It's okay, I can wait. Let's have a meal together this weekend. I also know about your company's situation. I can invest in you. I paused, and a wave of ecstatic emotion rose in my heart. A few days ago, I called the partner. Everything on the internet was a misunderstanding. May I ask if you're still willing to give me another chance? I've taken care of everything. The other party was also a bit soft-hearted after hearing about my experience. They decided to stand by my side. They readily signed the contract and even increased the investment in my company by 10%. All the employees cheered. Great, boss. Our company has an even greater chance of going public now. Emma's family owns a large enterprise here. If she can invest in me, then the company's listing is almost a certainty. Okay, see you then. We set the time, and then I turned off my phone and focused on driving. Emma fell in love with me because I once helped her in college. At that time, she was just as stubborn. She had a feud with a boy who gave her a sarcastic nickname. I couldn't stand it, so I stepped in to help her. As a result, I got into a fight with that boy and was punished by the school. Emma felt guilty and made boxed lunches for me every day out of kindness. I never ate them and told her not to spend any more money. Ava was jealous of her back then and ignored me for several days. Therefore, I didn't dare to have any more contact with Emma and even deleted her on my own initiative. Later, whenever there were any school activities, I would avoid her. Just as I was thinking, Ava suddenly called me. "I left something at your place. Open the door for me." I frowned. "Didn't we check everything yesterday? What else haven't you taken?" Ava was silent for a moment, then slowly said, "I want to get back our wedding photo." "Is that not allowed? What do you want this for? Aren't you afraid William will mind?" My original intention was to make Ava draw a clear line with me and stop pestering me, but in her ears, it seemed that I couldn't bear to part with her. "I knew you want to secretly keep them. As long as you say you regret it, I'll agree to get back together with you. I promise I won't make you quarrel with me because of William in the future." I sneered when I heard this. Ava really had a big heart. Even in this situation, she was still thinking about getting back together with me. "Wait at the door. I'll be back soon." After saying that, I hung up the phone and drove straight home. When I got home, I tore my part of the wedding photos and then handed the rest to Ava. Then I looked at her indifferently. "Take whatever else you have as soon as possible. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore." Ava looked at me in disbelief and slapped me directly. "How dare you talk to me like this? Am I really that despicable in your heart?" I lost my patience and pushed her out of the door in a few quick moves. "That's enough." I looked at her coldly, feeling no more waves in my heart. "We're already divorced. What else do you want?" Ava stood at the door with tears welling up in her eyes. "James, are you really this heartless? Can you really let go of our 5-year relationship so easily?" I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself down. "Yes, there's no possibility between us anymore. Leave and don't show up in front of me again." Ava bit her lips, a trace of unwillingness flashing in her eyes. "James, are you really this heartless? I know I was wrong. I really do. Can't you give me another chance?" I looked at her, but there was no longer the initial palpitation in my heart. "Ava, I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. It's too late to say these things now." Ava was silent for a moment, as if thinking about something. Finally, she sighed. "Well, since you've decided, I have nothing more to say." Then she took the waiting photo from my hand and turned to leave. Just as she was about to walk out of the door, she turned back. "James, I hope you won't regret it in the future." I closed the door directly and leaned against it, feeling an unprecedented sense of relief. This marriage was a mistake from the beginning. Now it can finally end. In the following days, I threw myself into work, trying not to think about William and Ava. When I met Emma on the weekend, we made an appointment at a coffee shop. "Long time no see. You still look the same." She walked towards me with a beaming smile. When her eyes met mine, my heart actually skipped a beat. Unlike her ordinary appearance in college, Emma now looked smart and generous. "I've heard about your company. The cooperation is no problem. I can invest any time as long as you're willing." After saying that, she winked at me playfully. It took me a while to react and speak. "Thank you very much." The atmosphere between us was quite harmonious. After having a meal, we took a walk on the street together. "I've waited for you for so many years and didn't want to settle for less. I've turned down quite a few blind date partners." Emma looked at me proudly. "Remember, you must give me a chance this time." We looked at each other and smiled, then naturally started to banter. Unexpectedly, we ran into Ava and William arguing on the street. They were arguing red-faced over a scarf. "Look at what your status is now. Do you even deserve to talk to me like this? If it weren't for the fact that you could give me some money back then, I wouldn't have been entangled with you. An old woman? How do you talk about me? If it weren't for you constantly flirting with me, how could I have ended up like this with James?" Looking at them like this, I just felt it was ridiculous. When I was arguing with Ava, I had already investigated William. Clearly, he had a lazy and good-for-nothing younger brother at home, and his parents relied on him for a living. That's why he deliberately got caught up in this. Close to Ava, hoping to get more money by hooking up with her, it seemed that he was too lazy to pretend anymore. Emma and I were just about to walk around them, but unexpectedly, Ava saw me at a glance. She ran towards me, crying and begging me to forgive her. "Honey, William has been lying to me. He was just pretending. I regret it. Can you take me back? As she was about to put her hand on me, Emma impatiently stepped in front of me. Emma looked at Ava unfriendly. Stay away from James. You were blind and let him down. What are you talking about? Now Ava stared at her with red eyes, asking who she thought she was. What right do you have to interfere in our business? You're just an outsider who came later. Hearing this, Emma sneered. So what if I'm an outsider? At least I won't betray him and hurt him like you did. Ava was so angry that her whole body was shaking. What do you know? You have no idea what we've been through. I don't need to know. Emma interrupted her coldly. All I know is that he will be my boyfriend, and you're already his past. Ava was so angry that she couldn't speak, and tears welled up in her eyes. She turned to me, trying to seek my support. James, are you really this heartless? Can you really let go of our 5-year relationship so easily? But Emma protected me. You'd better stay away from him and don't show up in front of us again. Seeing that Ava was still pestering me, Emma slapped her directly. Ava was stunned, then angrily pounced on Emma, and the two immediately started fighting. Enough, I shouted, trying to separate them. Why did you hit me? Ava roared, her eyes full of anger and grievance. Emma didn't show any weakness. Because you deserve it. You betrayed James, and now you're pestering him again. Do you have any shame? Ava looked at us silently, her eyes filled with complex emotions. William, who was beside her, impatiently urged Ava. What a fickle person you are. You pounce on James as soon as you see him. Are you trying to get yourself killed? If you don't come back with me, who will cook dinner? Ava's face froze, but when she met William's threatening gaze, she looked extremely scared. Then she didn't say anything more and just left silently. Emma and I continued walking forward, but the atmosphere became a bit heavy. I could feel her dissatisfaction and grievance, but she didn't show it. I'm sorry to make you feel wronged, I said softly. Emma shook her head. It's okay. I know you're not feeling good either. We walked in silence for a while, and finally, she broke the silence. James, I hope you can let go of the past and start anew. I nodded, feeling a warmth in my heart. Thank you, Emma. I will. In the following days, my relationship with Emma gradually heated up. We had meals together, went shopping together, and watched movies together, as if we were back in our college days. Our companies also signed a cooperation and completed many projects together. I trust your ability, and of course, I'll do a good job in the follow-up work. Emma came to my company to help on her own initiative. You welcomed me. I looked at her affectionately. Of course, I'm on the other side. William posted a message saying that he was going to marry Ava. Even to provoke me, he sent me an invitation. Congratulations. I won't be able to make it. I'm busy. After I replied, I continued to throw myself into my work. I didn't expect Ava to be so obsessed. William had even hit her, and she was still willing to marry him. But all of this had nothing to do with me anymore. On my birthday, Emma prepared a surprise for me. She came to my house early, carrying an exquisite cake box in her hand and wearing a gentle smile on her face. Happy birthday, James, she said softly, her eyes shining with anticipation. I was a bit surprised. I didn't expect her to remember my birthday, let alone come to celebrate it for me in person. Then we lit the candles together and made a wish. The candlelight reflected on her face, making her look extraordinarily beautiful. Thank you, Emma, I said sincerely, feeling a warmth in my heart. When I was with Ava before, she never remembered my birthday. After being disappointed so many times, I no longer had any obsession with celebrating my birthday. After having the cake, Emma suggested going for a walk outside. We strolled along the street, enjoying the rare, peaceful time. She suddenly stopped and took out an exquisite gift box from her bag. This is a birthday gift for you. I hope you like it, she said a little shyly. I took the gift and opened it. It was a delicate tie. My heart warmed. I looked at her gratefully. Thank you, Emma. I like it very much. I thought of the ugly tie Ava gave me, and a strange feeling towards Emma grew in my heart. She smiled. I'm glad you like it. Actually, there's something else I want to tell you. I looked at her, having a premonition in my heart. She took a deep breath as if mustering up her courage. James, I like you. I've liked you for a long time. Will you give me a chance? Hearing her words, My heart skipped a beat. In fact, I had already developed a crush on her, but because of Ava, I never had the courage to face my feelings. Now that she confessed to me, I didn't want to hesitate anymore. Emma, I like you too, I said softly, my eyes full of sincerity. A flash of surprise appeared in her eyes, and then she showed a bright smile. We looked at each other and smiled as if everything was understood without words. Ava contacted me again on our wedding day. Ava called me crying. James, as long as you're willing to come, I'll run away from the wedding. Let's start over, okay? Hearing her words, my heart was filled with mixed feelings. Once, I could have done anything for her, but now I had Emma and a new life. Ava, it's over between us, I said calmly. Get ready for your wedding. James, can you really bear to see me marry him? Ava's tone carried a hint of despair. Once we separate this time, there will really be no chance for us. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself down. Ava, look at yourself. You are pregnant. What are you coming to me for? You really this heartless? Ava's crying became more obvious. I can have an abortion. Can't you give me another chance? Remember the reason we separated was that you had no sense of boundaries. I said coldly, saying these things now? It seems you still haven't learned your lesson. James, Ava's voice choked. I really regret it. I regret forcing you to agree to the reconciliation. Ava, let the past be the past. I sighed. We both have to look forward. James, are you really this cruel? Ava's crying gradually subsided. I understand. I'll live my life well. Yeah, I replied, feeling a bit impatient in my heart. James, I wish you happiness. I hung up the phone directly, feeling an unprecedented sense of relief. Finally, the company went public, and Emma and I officially got together. I thought life would go on like this peacefully, but unexpectedly, Ava still had feelings for me. Even though she was already married, she showed up downstairs at the company for several days, kneeling and begging to see me. Emma was going to send security to drive her away, but I shook my head and decided to go down and end things with her myself. After all, she was still pregnant. If anything happened, I might be held responsible. Honey, I'm sorry. I just beg you don't hate me. Seeing me coming, Ava cried and apologized to me. I looked into her deep and sad eyes. Once I had countless times wanted to hide in these deep eyes for a lifetime. At that time, I dared to love and hate and gave all of myself to her. But now, tears turned into an ocean, forming an uncrossable chasm between us. We were destined to be separated on opposite sides. I've made myself very clear. I don't have any feelings for you anymore. Continuing to pester me will only make me more disgusted. After she left, in a daze, I smiled self-deprecatingly. Love that comes too late is cheaper than grass. What's the point of saying these things now? Since she chose William back then, she should have thought of this outcome. I loved her for so many years and endured them for so long. Everything that's happening to her now is her own doing. But now, I didn't want to think about her anymore. William's biological parents completely clung to Ava, the cash cow. Even though she was kicked out by me with nothing, she still had some savings. Later, I accidentally saw William with his biological parents surrounding Ava. Ava was so troubled by their pestering that her face was full of annoyance and helplessness. You can't treat us like this, William's mother shrieked. We're your in-laws. You can't just ignore us. And William's father wasn't to be outdone. That's right. We agreed to let you marry into our family. You can't abandon us like this. Ava frowned, trying to push them away. Stop pestering me. I've already given you money. But William's younger brother also joined in. That little bit of money is not enough. Our family is in such a difficult situation now. You have to give us more. Ava was almost on the verge of a breakdown from their pestering. She roared, enough. If you keep this up, I'll call the police hearing. This Williams family not only didn't back down, but became even more arrogant. Call the police, go ahead. William's mother sneered. Let's see if the police will help you or us. William's father echoed. That's right, we're your family. Do you dare to call the police? Ava was so angry that her face turned livid, but she was helpless and could only continue to deal with them. I remained indifferent and turned to leave. More than a dozen employees were counting on the successful listing to get their bonuses, but it ended up like this. To me, She has a gentle personality and treats me well. She's a suitable choice. Moreover, she's devoted to me and never makes me jealous because of other men. On the wedding day, Ava flashed by in front of me, but the sun was too bright, and I couldn't see her clearly. However, whether it was her or not didn't matter anymore. I had met the person I could truly spend my life with. For the rest of my life, I will be happy and bright, and there will be no more of her.